Hello, fellow Star Wars fans. My name is Starrapter. Welcome to the channel. We have a bevy of Star Wars comics to get into this week. We have 5 total comics. So without further ado, let's jump on in. The first issue we have is from Daniel Jose Older with Harvey Talabal as the artist, and this is Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures, issue number 17, The Jedi and the Warden, Part 4. So we are in the thick of it, in the Battle of Eriadu, and we are from the point of view of Farzala. And Farzala is the kind of like commander, I guess, for the ground forces in Eriadu. And he has a lot of responsibility, a lot of, just intensive stress at this point, because even though Krenara and his fleet have arrived, the Nile still plan on bombing with the Warden, still plan on bombing that site that's in Bifrong City, which holds the entire core of the planet together. So if that goes, everybody's done for. So there's still a lot to do with defending the city. So he's having a lot of flashbacks, Farzala, with, his old master Ubstruct, and about how they're doing this dance, and about Farzala is a little bit uncertain of what his future should be. What his future should be as far as certainty, and having that be a bad thing, and fear, and his fear. And that's what this whole thing with High Republic has been about, is fear of what is going to come for the Jedi. So there is a lot of good stuff here with choices in this issue as well. I mean, we have the choice of deciding what happens with the Starhopper. The Warden has control of the Starhopper, but he also has, I think, Driggit is a hostage to a certain degree. So, we can't destroy that thing because she's on there. That's what that is inferred or integrated into the story there. To run or to fight, right? People are evacuating, but then Farzala says, no, we're going to stand and fight. So there's a lot of that going on there. And I like how they brought back this female Nikto from Nal Hutta in the first phase of the High Republic, where she is the love interest of Farzala. And when they're on the prison ship for the Warden earlier in this phase, there's a lot of referenced lines and different things of these guys had a romantic sort of relationship while that was happening, because they're not certain about the future. So if you're in that situation, you're going to make the best of it. And now they've come out on the other side, and Ishtar is back into it. So we are not finished with this storyline yet, but this is one focus point on the story in the Battle of Eriadu, because next up on deck we have the one-shot called The High Republic Adventures, The Battle of Eriadu. Now, this one is written by Alyssa Wong with artwork by Elisa Ramboli. And this is basically focused on the character I mentioned before, Driggit, as well as Gavi. These two characters both grew up on Valo. One decided to work from the Nile. The one is a Jedi Padawan. Actually, I don't think he's a Padawan. I think just a Jedi youngling at this point. So we get to see the cross between these two characters. And we do find out recently that Driggit is actually she's not really with the Republic, but she's also not with the Nile. She wants revenge on what the Nile did with her parents and with everybody on Valo. So she has been holding the cards close to her chest, being the lieutenant of the Warden that I mentioned in the High Republic Adventures number 17. But you see this reunion of these characters, and it really feels almost like a dyad in the Force, kind of like with Ben Solo and Rey Skywalker, and kind of that sort of vibe. So I really dug that. But I was hoping for a conclusion to the battle. When they call this the one-shot of the Battle of Eriadu, I thought this was going to be a much more ensemble type of one-shot that was going to wrap everything up in this era, but it really just is a snapshot of two characters, a very insular kind of specific story, which is fine, but I guess I was just hoping for something a little bit more grander in scale. Leaving the High Republic for now, we're going to go with another Dark Horse comic. This one's brand new, brand spanking new, issue number 1. This is Hyperspace Stories Codebreaker, written by my friend and yours, Ethan Sachs, with artwork by Mark Yarza. And this is great because this is taking place before the events of Force Awakens. Yes, we already have Charles Soule's and Phil Noto's wonderful run of, I think, 32 issues of the Poe Dameron comics, which also sit in the same kind of era. But we get to see a lot of action, a lot of dogfighting action off the bat. We got Poe Dameron coming in to save the day when some pirates and ne'er-do-wells are trying to mess with these Hosnian Prime people in orbit, and he's going around saving them. BB-8 is there in tow, so we get that classic iconography of the Resistance X-Wings and the black and orange of Poe Dameron. I absolutely love that. But then we get to see him reporting to General Leia. This is early in his life as a Resistance pilot. And I love how we get the mentions of the New Republic and how the New Republic wouldn't condone this mission. And it's up to the Resistance as these spies to go in. And they have to basically destroy this code-breaking device. Because if the First Order gets hold of this, the Resistance is absolutely done for. But then enters the fray with this brand new First Order pilot. Just like the Red Baron guy from the Resistance show, we now have the Banshee of Bestine, who's also in this really flashy TIE interceptor that's modified. Love the kinetic action. As we also get Snap Wexley. There's a reference to Black Squadron being currently busy with something else. Black Squadron was predominantly featured in that aforementioned Poe Dameron comic by Trollsoul I was talking about. But absolutely great pacing. What I love about this story is Ethan pulls the rug out from under us. We're thinking that the Codebreaker is some kind of piece of technology. No, it's actually a kid. So the Codebreaker is a kid. So now Poe Dameron has to deal with this situation. That's our cliffhanger. Absolutely loved it. So very much looking forward to this. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries, and I like how, rather than getting these one-shot issues that were hyperspace stories originally, now we're getting these longer kind of things, like I mentioned before about the Kit Fisto one coming out. We already have a Bad Batch hyperspace stories, so I'm really liking the more focused, smaller miniseries that Dark Horse is going to be putting out, because hey, the High Republic is basically done in like a month. So what's Dark Horse got next on deck? Well, I really dig the direction if this is the way they're going with things. Getting into Marvel now, our last two comics from Marvel. We have, of course, the Rise of Skywalker adaptations, issue number 3, written by Jody Hauser with artwork by Will Sliney. This one picks up basically right towards the end of the stuff on Kijimi, right? Basically when Rey learns that she is a Palpatine, and it goes all the way up to the duel on Kef Bir between her and Kylo Ren and everything in between. But what I really like about this, again, like I love picking up these issues even though I know what's happening, is the rendition of the art, the interpretation of the art, the narration. We sometimes get like narration bubbles that we don't obviously get in the movie and whatnot. I like seeing Jaina as a stormtrooper, First Order stormtrooper. We get this awesome scene between Rose Tico and Leia, which basically has Rose Tico kind of looking between the lines and figure out like, how the heck has the Final Order or the First Order built up at a gigantic Star Destroyer army? She's looking through the books, if you will, and finding out the logistics of how they've been able to put together all this stuff over the last 30 years. So it's cool there. But yeah, this is, more or less the same as the movie. So if you watch the movie, you read the comic and vice versa. Getting into our final story, going back to the High Republic, we have the High Republic, Fear of the Jedi, blockade over Eriadu. This is issue number 3, written by Kevin Scott with artwork by Marika Cresta. So we have Keeve Trennis and her company, including Lorna D and the Tempest Breakers, that get a holo or get some information when they're in Naboo that says all the Nihil are going to retreat back to Eriadu for the final battle, essentially. So of course they go fast as they can over there. And this issue is very much a space issue. They are setting up a blockade around Eriadu so that the coming Nihil fleets will not be able to get back onto Eriadu to help the people that are on the surface. So we have basically this big blockade that the Republic sets up, and we start seeing casualties. I mean, Orbelin, I love that character. The Archivist, right? This guy is the green goo guy. He keeps splitting himself. And unfortunately, when he splits himself, this gelatinous Jedi ends up losing a little bit more control and a little bit more force sensitivity, as you could imagine, if he's splitting himself. So we get to see a couple casualties of him, unfortunately. We get to see Lorna D going around, destroying stuff. But then we also get a lot with Tay Sarek. Tay Sarek from Phase 2, the long-lived species, is having nightmares, whatever, right? He's thinking of Vildar Mac, his lover from back in the day, and his final moments. I guess he was just dying of old age, and you see his previous Padawan there and everything. Well, it turns out the reason why he's having all these visions and craziness is that because there's flying Nameless in space. Yes, there's Nameless in space, and that's our cliffhanger for this issue. It's a lot to take in, because we thought we're safe in space. Turns out that the Nihil somehow engineered Nameless that fly in space. So there you have it. Those were the top level views of these issues, these 5 issues. And guess what, guys? This is not all of them. We have 2 comics coming out. Free Comic Day, at least in the States, I think maybe in Canada. May the 2nd, we get the High Republic kind of one-shot, or the Young Jedi Adventures one-shot. And we're also getting like 3 different Marvel stories in one comic. So if you are around on Saturday and you have a local comic store, go there, support them, buy something, but also pick up your free comic book day comics there, because these are going to be preludes to some things we're going to see in the future. So very excited of that. Look forward to that video of my reviews of those things if I get them, hopefully in the future. But for now, that's going to do it for the content for this week. There's so much content on the channel after coming back from Celebration a week ago. I've just been non-stop with whether it be vlogs of Japan, vlogs of Celebration, or reviews of different manga and stuff that have come out that I've missed. So make sure you go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Please support the channel. I've been working hard over here, and I really appreciate the views and the likes that you give, and as well as the comments. So that's good to do for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.